All right, this should be turning on soon, if it hasn't turned on already. Okay, so welcome. Hope everyone is having a nice weekend, a nice Saturday. If you are watching this and it's not the weekend, I still hope you're having a nice day. So today, this week, we are going to do our live stream lesson. It is a grammar lesson talking about gerunds and infinitives. Now, I don't want to lose you just yet. I know a lot of you are thinking, oh gosh, grammar. Sometimes it's not the most exciting stuff, but it is so important. Especially what we're talking about today. So I guarantee you that if you stick with us, you are going to learn something new. So if you are joining us right now, please say hello to us in the chat. Tell us your name. Tell us where you are watching from, and just say hello. We'd like to hear from as many people as possible. And again, it's always good to keep practicing your English, and writing is a part of that. And honestly, even if you are watching this afterwards, tell us hello. Write in the comments your name, where are you from? Nam, hello from Vietnam. Awesome. Hope you're having a great weekend. So today, as I said, I mentioned, we're going to talk about boom. All right, let me see. Make sure you can see me. Gerunds, there we go. We're going to talk about gerunds and infinitives. So the gerund is just the ing, and the infinitive is to plus the base verb. Specifically, we are going to be talking about verbs that are followed by the gerund and infinitive. Marco, hello, how's it going? Hope you're having a great weekend. So that's great. Again, if you guys are just joining us, say hello, tell us your name, where you're from, and we have an exciting lesson for you planned today, gerunds and infinitives. And at the end, we are going to do a little practice. And during the practice, you will need to write in the comments, because we want you guys to keep practicing and practicing and practicing, because practice makes perfect. So we're going to talk about gerunds and infinitives today, and the verbs that are followed by a gerund and infinitive. And this is something that can be very tricky. It can confuse English learners sometimes. And this is how people make these small mistakes, where we understand what everybody is trying to say, but at the same time, it kind of impedes fluency. And sometimes it does confuse the meaning of what you're trying to express. So first, let's look at, where are we? Here we go. Let's look at verbs that are followed by a gerund right here. Okay, so here we have, actually, no, wait. This is the first page I want to look at. This one. Sorry. This is the one that I wanted to look at right here. Here we go. It is just our overview of what gerunds and infinitives are. So again, we're talking about, oh, you're doing well? I can't complain either. I'm also doing excellent. Thank you for asking, Marco. We're talking about verbs that are followed by gerunds or infinitives, and I gave you a couple examples. So the verb followed by a gerund is in blue. I recommend studying with interactive English. Okay, so if we're talking about the verb recommend, it's going to be followed by a gerund, the ing. The next one, which I've highlighted the verb in red, is plan. I plan to study with interactive English. Again, this one is followed by the infinitive, which is to plus the base verb, to study. Okay, both of them kind of have, similar meanings. I recommend studying with interactive English. You recommend that somebody does something. And the other one, I plan to study with interactive English. So again, one is followed by the gerund, the other is followed by the infinitive. Let's move right along because I wanted to show you that page that I had up there before, which is, boom, this one. Now, these are verbs that are followed by gerunds. Okay, and what I've done here is there are more verbs that are followed by gerunds. I've just listed the ones that I personally feel are a little more common than others and that are commonly used with gerunds and are used in everyday English. Again, I'd like you to know if you're just joining us, say hello, say what's up in the chat. Let us know where you're from, what your name is. So again, these are verbs: avoid, consider, dread, enjoy, finish, feel like, quit, miss, postpone, recommend. You're all going to be followed by gerunds. And what I'd like you to do is, great question. What does dread mean? Dread means that something you don't want to do. It means that you are not looking forward to doing it. You are kind of like, I really don't want to do this. That is what dread means. So again, if you have any questions, just let us know. What I'd like to ask you to do is always practice, practice, practice. Just take one of these verbs and try to write a sentence. Write a sentence in the comments using a gerund after these verbs. So again, these are some of the more common verbs that I feel that are followed by a gerund. I've gave you some examples down below, and these are examples that are kind of, personal, that are about me. And I've highlighted the verb and the gerund in blue. So it says, I feel like eating pizza tonight. That's true. I woke up today, I was like, all right, I'd feel like eating some pizza tonight. So again, eating is the ing, and it follows that verb, feel like. Okay, you feel like doing something. And the next sentence, he avoids going to the dentist. That is also something that describes me, because I do not like the dentist, so I avoid going there. You avoid doing something. Okay, so again, these are verbs that are followed by the gerund. Again, if you guys are just joining us, hello, what's up? Let us know your name. Tell us where you are joining us from. Write to us in the comments. We are talking about gerunds and infinitives today. We're going to do a quick grammar lesson. So again, these are verbs that are followed by the gerunds. One thing I will say about this is when you're learning these, some people might say, oh, okay, like there's not really a hard, fast rule. All right, this is something you just need to memorize. You need to practice, because some people might say, okay, yeah, verbs that are followed by a gerund, it's usually something that is real. It is something that is fixed. It is something that, is already completed. So you could say, for example, I quit watching TV. All right, that is something that is completed. All right, I quit watching is the gerund, TV. But I think, again, me personally, I feel like the best way to learn these is just to memorize them, just to keep reading, keep listening, keep practicing like we're doing in this lesson right now. Because when you're having a conversation, you're not going to stop and think about the verb and think like, whoa, wait a second, is this completed? Okay, I'm going to use a gerund. It just needs to come naturally. So Natalia, hello from Brazil. How are you? Hope everybody's doing well this weekend. So again, this is just something that I would recommend if you're trying to learn the difference between these, the gerunds and infinitives. Just learn, study the verbs, find the list, and just keep practicing. Try to practice them. When you're reading, you're going to come across them, and eventually you are going to internalize this information. So Marga, an example sentence with dread. Okay, so for example, we could say that one sentence, he avoids going to the dentist. I can write, I dread going to the dentist. Okay, so that could be something like you dread, you don't want to do something. You dread going to the dentist. You can dread meeting somebody that you don't want to meet. You can dread going to work in the morning. There are many things that you can dread. But again, in this case, dread, I've chose it because it's typically, when you use it, it's going to be followed by a gerund more often than not in whatever sentence you're saying. So these are verbs that are followed by gerunds. Now, let's have a look at verbs followed by infinitives. Okay, so here we have another list of verbs. Again, hello, if you're joining us. Roger, morning, how are you? Again, say hello to us in the chat. Tell us where you're joining us from. Marco had a question. What is different like to do and like doing something? We are going to get to that in just a moment. You're reading our minds right now. So we talked about verbs followed by gerunds. These are verbs that are commonly followed by infinitives. But Roger, we will get to your question in just a moment in the next slide that I'm going to show you. So again, we have a list of verbs that I would just recommend that you become comfortable familiarizing yourself with, because you're not going to learn all the different nuances, but again, you can learn like, okay, agree. You practice using that with the infinitive, then at some point you're going to internalize it and you're just going to start using it correctly. So again, if you want to practice one of these, choose one of these verbs, write a sentence in the comments. So I gave you some example sentences down below. He promised to take her to dinner. All right, this is something that I've promised Joanna, so maybe tonight we will go out to dinner. And because I said I feel like eating pizza, maybe we'll go out for Italian food. He promised to take her to dinner. The next one, like that picture I have down there for you, I learned to ride a bike. Again, to ride is the infinitive, and it is following the verb to learn. You learn to do something. You promise to do something. These are followed by the infinitive. All right, again, hello, if you're joining us. Hello from Yemen. I didn't see that comment. Adele, hello from Yemen. Awesome. Got a people from all over the world with us this morning. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Again, in the comments, just say hello. Let us know where you're joining us from. We're talking about gerunds and infinitives. So these are all verbs that are followed by infinitives. Now, we've talked about the ones followed by gerund, followed by infinitive, and now to kind of go to Roger's question, there are also verbs that are followed by either a gerund or an infinitive, such as the one you just asked in your question, like. So these are verbs, again, these are not all of them. I'm just choosing the ones that I personally think are more common, all right? So verbs like begin, continue, hate, like, love, start. You can use either a gerund or an infinitive to say whatever it is you want to say. And the one thing that you need to keep in mind is that the meaning does not change. It's the same meaning. So for example, I gave you two sentences down there. The gerund is in blue. The infinitive is in red. We really like studying English. We really like to study English. It means the same thing. It has the same meaning. So you can use either one with these verbs. Personally, and this is just my opinion, I kind of prefer using the gerund. I think it's a little more common nowadays in the way that people use English, like in spoken English, in more colloquial English. I think gerunds are just a little more common. And that also might be an American thing. I'm not sure, but that's just my opinion. So again, you can use either a gerund or an infinitive with these verbs, and the meaning is not going to change. Okay? Now, for some of these other verbs, let's see. For example, we have another list. Okay, so with these other verbs right here, they can also be used with a gerund and an infinitive, but the meaning changes, all right? And these are the ones that I think can really confuse learners a little bit, because depending if we use the gerund and if we use the infinitive, it has a different meaning. So forget, remember, stop. There's not that many of them, but with these verbs, you can use either a gerund or an infinitive, but there's a difference in the meaning. So let's look at these examples. She remembers buying a birthday present. All right. Remembers is followed by the gerund. She remembers buying a birthday present. It's kind of just talking about a memory. She's thinking back of like, oh, like she remembers doing this thing in the past. It's a memory. It's finished. She remembers buying this present. All right. So if we said she remembered to buy a birthday present, all right, that means that she didn't forget. She has not bought the present yet. All right. She's going to do this in the future. So remembers buying is a memory. It's already done. You know, she's already bought the present. And remembers to buy, she hasn't bought the present. She remembers like, oh, wait, I still need to do this thing. So again, very different meanings. All right. One's talking about the memory. The other one's basically saying like, oh, you didn't forget to do this. So again, we'll practice with these a little bit, but these three verbs, definitely remember, forget, remember, and stop. These are verbs where the meaning will change a little bit. And I think this is the more difficult part of this. Again, if you guys are just joining us, we're talking about gerunds and infinitives. You can say what's up in the comments. Let us know where you're joining us from. So before we do a quick little practice, all right, I just want to go review what we've talked about, okay? So we've gone over, let's see. We've now talked about the verbs that are followed by a gerund. Again, these are some common verbs that we will just use with gerunds, all right? And I'd recommend afterwards you can rewatch this video and again, use the comments section. Just write sentences, write random sentences. I'll have a look at them. Ioana will have a look at them and we'll give you some feedback. There are these other verbs here that we talked about. These are followed by infinitives, which is to plus the base verb. Again, I'd recommend practice using them because practice makes perfect. We also then have another set of verbs, like we had that question about like doing something or like to do something. These are verbs that can be followed by either a gerund or infinitive. You can use both, and they have the same meaning. The meaning doesn't change, okay? And some of these verbs are very common, such as like. We use it all the time talking about things we like to do. And then we also have these other verbs where the meaning does change: forget, remember, and stop. And you want to make sure you are using them correctly. And if you want some more information about gerunds and infinitives, I'm telling you, what you can do is you could even just do a Google search, gerunds versus infinitives, and you're going to find a lot of information talking about the verbs that are followed by these and even some practices that you can do online. So what I would like to do now, or actually, I don't know if you saw that. I don't think I switched it over. Aha. So I wanted to show you here. Again, you can do a Google search, gerunds versus infinitives, and you're going to find a lot of different information, and you know, some of them will help you even practice using these. So what I'd like to do now is I want to practice what we've learned. All right, now ask, can we do some more examples? Yes, we're going to do some examples right now. So I'm going to give you a question, all right? And for these first few, I just want you to write, are we going to use the gerund or are we going to use the infinitive? Okay, so the first question that I have for you, where's my question page? Right here. Okay, is this. So gerund versus infinitive. We talked about this one. Dread is something you don't want to do. I dread to the dentist. Are we going to use the gerund, I dread going to the dentist, or the infinitive, I dread to go to the dentist? So in the comments, all right, just practice. I want you to write going or to go. Are we going to use, with this sentence, are we going to use going or to go? We just talked about this one in our lesson. If you're just joining us, we're doing a practice with gerunds and infinitives. So what I'd like you to do is write the answer in the comments. Okay, we got one. All right. I dread going to the dentist. Which one are we going to use, going or to go? Again, dread is something, if you're not sure what it means something that you don't want to do. Okay, so again, in the comments, just write which one. All right, so for this one, where is my, aha. For this one, again, we are going to use dread is followed by the gerund. Okay, so we're going to say, I dread going to the dentist. All right, the next one that I want to talk to you about, let's do another question. All right, let's do this one right here. Boom. Okay, here's the next one. Write either the gerund or the infinitive. He hopes an English teacher. All right, becoming or to become, right? Either the gerund or the infinitive. Which one are we going to use with the verb hope? Okay, and this is a sentence for me. All right, he hopes an English teacher, something I've always wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. Not really. I wanted to be an athlete, but unfortunately that didn't work out too well. So what do you think? Are we going to say use hope, becoming or to become? What do we use with hope? Is it followed by a gerund or is it followed by the infinitive? Again, if you just joined us, we're doing a practice with gerunds and infinitives. Even if you're watching this later on, which many of people watch this afterwards, write the sentences in the comments. Do the practice, even though it's already, the video's finished, do the practice and keep writing them. Practice writing sentences and we will comment on them. All right, so which one do you think? Are we going to use the gerund, becoming, or to become, all right, with the verb hope? Is it followed by a gerund or is it followed by the infinitive? Okay, so with this one, we got some more answers. Awesome. For this one, again, it is going to be followed by the infinitive. You hope to do something. All right, good job. Awesome. Sakure Mamoto. Awesome. To become. Roger, to become. Excellent. All right. So again, for this one, we are going to use the infinitive to complete the sentence. All right, next one. Let's do another one of these, and then we'll do bam. Okay, what about this one? I decided in tonight. Are we going to use staying or to stay? So with the verb decide, are we going to use the gerund? Or are we going to use the infinitive? Okay, which one do you think? I decided in tonight. This is something... Hello. All right. Welcome. All right, if you guys are just joining us again, we're doing a little practice with gerunds and infinitives. So again, write your answers in the comments, okay? Practice using it. Practice what we've just learned. So what is the answer? I decided in tonight. So if we're talking about the verb decide, again, you decide to do something, okay? So for this one, I decided to stay in tonight, okay? You decide to do something. I decided to go to work today. I decided to play soccer this afternoon, all right? You decide to do something. Let's try another one. This one, boom. Okay, this is something about, school, learning, homework. If we don't have homework now, I'm sure we did at some point in our lives. So what would we say? How would we complete this sentence? All right, she finished her homework. She finished her homework. Are we going to use the gerund, doing, or the infinitive, to do. All right, what do you guys think? All right, excellent. Getting more answers in there. Awesome. All right, so with this one, again, you finish doing something. Okay, so for this one, we are going to use the gerund. There it is. She finished doing her homework. All right. And oftentimes, again, we're talking about you finish doing something. It's almost a collocation that you're going to find these two words together frequently. You finish doing this. You finish doing that. Okay. The next one, let's do one more, and then we're going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to see if this works. So one more sentence with the gerunds and infinitives. So how about this one? They promised with the project. Okay, so the verb promise, are we going to use a gerund or are we going to use an infinitive? Write it in the comments. Okay, which one are we going to use? And if you're just joining us, again, we're doing a practice with gerunds and infinitives because grammar is important. And I would recommend, again, watching the presentation again to learn this even better, because this is something that you need to know. So which one? Getting some answers here. Nam, Sandy, getting answers. Excellent. All right. So again, what do you think? They promise with the project, gerund or infinitive. So if we are talking about promise, okay, promise is followed by the infinitive. You promise to do something, all right? They promise to help with the project, okay? I promised to take Ioana out to dinner tonight, okay? So you promise to do something. It's followed with the infinitive. Again, this is good. Practice, practice, practice. So let's do a different one. So with these, okay, I'm going to give you some sentences. And I want you to tell me if the meaning changes or there is no change. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here we have two sentences. Boom. All right. In the comments, I want you to write if there is a change or no change. So now these verbs are verbs that you can follow with a gerund or infinitive. You can use either one. The difference is, does the meaning of the sentence change or does the meaning not change? We talked about this. So again, we have two sentences. We love studying English. We love to study English. Does that meaning change? Are those is the meaning of those sentences, is it the same? Or does it not change? All right. Does the meaning change or is there no change? If there is no change, then they are exactly the same. So in the comments, just write change or no change. And again, if you're watching this even a week later, a month later, a year later, write the answers in the comments. Just practice as we're doing this. It will help you. So again, if we're talking about the verb love, we can follow love with either a gerund or infinitive, but the meaning does not change. Okay? With this, let's see if I can get this. Bam. There is no change. Both of these mean the same thing. We had a question earlier about what's the difference between you like to do something or you like doing something. It's the same with that. We like studying English. We like to study English. There is absolutely no change in those. So what about this one? Okay, again, I'm just trying to choose verbs that we use fairly regularly. Common verbs. Okay. Here's another one. Change or no change. I hate watching horror films. All right. I hate watching horror films. All right. Or I hate to watch horror films. All right. Is there no change in the meaning? These are the same, all right? The meaning is the same, or does the meaning change? Is it different? I hate watching horror films, or I hate to watch horror films. Okay, what do you think? Remember, hate, we can use either a gerund or infinitive. The question is, does the meaning change or does it stay the same? Which one do you think? All right. What do you guys think? Change or no change? Okay, write your answer in the comments. Okay, what do you guys think? We're getting some answers in here. Excellent, excellent. So with this one, again, when we're talking about hate, it can be followed by a gerund or infinitive, but there is no change in the meaning. The meaning of both of these is essentially the same. The difference is, and I will tell you this, and this is my opinion, English is no absolute. I feel like when you're using the verb hate, you can use either a gerund or infinitive, but I think in this case, I think it's much more common that people will often use a gerund, all right? You hate doing something. You could say, I hate to do something. That is perfectly fine. But I think in this case, slightly, in my opinion, I feel like gerund is a bit more frequently used with this verb. But essentially, there is no change between these two meanings, all right? I hate watching horror films, or I hate to watch horror films. Like, I don't like doing it. There is no change in the meaning. The last one, okay? Let's do one more. And then we'll talk about this. So, how about right here? What do you think? I forgot setting the timer. Okay? I forgot to set the timer. Okay, what do you think? Change or no change? Again, this is a verb that can be followed with either the gerund or the infinitive. Is there a change or no change when using the verb forget? All right, I forgot setting the timer. All right, I forgot to set the timer. Okay, what do you guys think? We're getting some answers. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Getting answers from everybody. Nam, Sylvia, excellent. Roger, what do you guys think? Is there change or no change? Write it in the comments. So, if we're talking about this one, the verb is forget. We talked about this. I forgot setting the timer. I forgot to set the timer. In this case, all right, there is a change, okay? There is a difference in the meaning between these two, okay? So let's look at them a little closer because, again, this is something that can be a little confusing. So I want to make a little more space down here. So again, this meaning changes. So for example, I forgot setting the timer, all right? All right, in this case, you did set the timer. You just forgot doing it. You forgot about doing it, all right? I forgot setting the timer. The timer is on. You just forgot about it, all right? In the other situation, I forgot to set the timer, all right? Okay, I'm going to make this a little smaller. So let's see. So this can all be up here. There we go. All right, I forgot to set the timer. You did not set the timer. You completely forgot about it, okay? So in this case, there are different meanings between, you forget setting something or you forget to set something. All right, I forgot setting the timer. I forgot to set the timer. So remember, the three verbs that we talked about where the meaning changes, remember, forget, and stop, those change. So let me give you an example too. I think somebody had asked about stop. Okay. I'm going to give you an example with stop real quick so you can see how the meaning changes. Okay, so we have this sentence. I stopped smoking. So in these two sentences, again, the one's followed smoking is the gerund, to smoke is the infinitive. Completely different meanings, okay? And the difference between these is I stopped smoking. It basically means that, again, you quit smoking, all right? You do not smoke anymore. You quit smoking. It's not part of your life. You stopped doing this activity. You stopped smoking. If you said, I stopped to smoke, then basically what that means is you smoke, okay? You stopped somewhere outside, you're going somewhere, and you stopped to smoke. You stopped to do something, okay? So again, very different meanings depending on whether you're using the gerund or infinitive. You stopped doing something, all right? You no longer do it, or you stopped to do something. It was an interruption in your daily life, in your activity, because you wanted to do it, all right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this little lesson on gerunds and infinitives. Again, I'd recommend check out our social media. If you haven't already, join us, connect with us. We put up a bunch of questions for you guys to answer to help you practice and improve your English skills. Again, if you want a little more practice, I'd rewatch the presentation part so you can see those verbs that are used with either a gerund or infinitive, and I would just practice using them. You know, as you read, as you study more, as you listen more, you are just going to understand when and when not to use it and how it's used, and you're just going to improve your English, and you won't even probably realize it at the time. So thank you for joining us. Hope you guys learned something new, and we will continue with more lessons next Saturday. Not really sure what time, and we will see you then. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and keep studying.